Hey, deserving listeners, it's time to continue our journey with Usman and Lisa. Let's watch this TV show and I will react.
You're sitting here bitching, telling me I'm causing all the problems because I'm bitching because it's a day before my marriage and there's no proposal.
I don't have to propose to you when I know that we have problem. Because if I know we have problem, we don't even know if we are getting married or not.
You're missing the point. I'm done. Out.
So they're back to their old shenanigans, which is that Usman is saying, I don't know if I want to get married to you because we have problems. And he's, expressing that. And then she is not really addressing the issue and saying, you're not getting the point, and putting him down and then walking away. Now, as I always say, if I could talk to Lisa, I'm guessing I would hear things that I similarly hear from clients who exhibit this kind of behavior, which is, I was freaking out. I was scared. I was hurt. I didn't know what to do. I just get flooded with emotions. And I don't know. I just walked away because I wanted to wring his neck. And now I feel so bad for why things are happening.
Lisa is angry with me because it's a day for our wedding and I did not propose to her in person yet. I wanted to propose last night, but because Lisa got so angry after she found that I was chatting with another woman, accusing me of the lady is my girlfriend.
So you just feel like you need to wait for Lisa to calm down?
I don't know. I don't know what to do, honestly. All I can do, I have done it. That's all.
It's bull. I don't care what our problems are. He should have proposed by now.
So there's that attitude again of entitlement. I'm guessing it comes from a deep fear of being lonely and being left at the altar. She resorts to demand and control. And we hear it in her language. She's saying, you better propose to me. And he's saying, with the way that we fight or the way that you treat me, I don't know if I want to propose to you. Instead of her saying, okay, let's talk about it. Let's work it out. Can you apologize to me? I will apologize to you. Now, can you propose to me? Instead, what she's sort of skipping all of those steps and saying, you better propose to me, as if she has the right to be proposed to, if that makes any sense. Like I said, that usually comes from a place of deep insecurity and deep worry. And not only of being rejected and abandoned, but also if I extend myself and really lay it on the table that I am vulnerable and I have needs, historically, no one ever cared. In fact, historically, people abused me in those moments. So I'm going to hold those real tight and I'm not going to reveal neediness. And I'm going to make demands because I'm going to hope that that actually keeps people close, because I don't want to suck people in with my emotions, because that's never worked right. So I've got to just cut to the chase and tell people to just stay in line because I have needs. And, that usually pushes people away, ironically. And then it contributes to just re-abandonment traumas for her.
Why have you been this?
Because the last thing it's like you act like you don't want to get married to me. Do you know with your marriage proposal the day before the wedding, people are going to say either I'm knocked up, pregnant to you, or you're looking for a green card.
Listen, the reason why I didn't do it 2 years night, it was because we are having a problem with, we have that kind of argument. We need to make sure that we discuss to each other. We have to tolerate each other. That is when we can propose. And everybody is on the way.
Yes.
They're supposed to come and see us like people who are going to get married tomorrow. Not like people who are having problem.
You know I love you.
I love you too.
I really do.
Okay. I mean, it's not an explicit conversation about what I would hope they would have, but it's caring and they're expressing love. And I always enjoy it when these couples, when they're fighting, they hug and they kiss and they say, I love you. That tends to bring things down, which is great. But then you have to capitalize on that non-triggering space to say, okay, Lisa, what's happening for you when you are yelling at me? I want to know what's going on for you emotionally, because you seem to get real angry real fast. You seem to get kind of controlling. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm just saying it concerns me. It kind of hurts my feelings. Where is that coming from? How can we avoid that happening in the future? Without having those kinds of conversations, I suspect we're just going to see a repetition of all the repetitions we've seen before.
Would you marry me, Lisa? With peace?
With peace?
With happiness?
If we can blend both cultures together,
We will.
then yes.
Now, I don't know. I always try to avoid the internet discussions about these couples because I want to be as spontaneous as I can. But I'm just going to take a guess and say that some people are a little against them getting married because of how much fighting they've been having. That moment seemed real to me. Maybe it wasn't. But I like to believe in people. I like to believe that love is real. I like to see the good side and glass half full kind of person. And when I see this, I'm like, oh.
I've never proposed to anybody, but I've seen it done in movies. So hopefully I believe I'm doing it right. All I know is that you just bring out the ring, would you marry me?
Tomorrow we're getting married.
Are you happy?
Yeah, I'm very happy. It was everything I wanted.
So there's some of that vulnerability that we have not seen from Lisa, that I'm guessing she really protects because she doesn't trust anyone with it. That's the sort of crying that I might expect deep down when she saw those texts that she suspected he might be cheating on her. That's that kind of vulnerability. That's not what we saw, right? What we saw was anger and puffed up and name calling and attitude and you can't treat me that way and a sort of even bullying and walking away and acting like the tough guy. I can't tell you how many times I have treated people who have that mode. It's particularly prevalent in teenagers and 20-somethings, but it definitely can be present in 50-somethings as well. In that it's so much easier to be the tough person. I'm not going to take this anymore. Screw you. But it doesn't take much to see, well, what are they protecting against? You know, Internal Family Systems talks about this, how all of us have different people inside of us or different modes. And all of us have like a police officer or a guard or a protector that comes to the fore and will be very angry and tough to protect the rest of us. And when you're growing up and you need that police officer all the time, then it becomes a very strong, stubborn part of yourself, then it's very easy for that person to come to the fore right away. Any threat, boom, police officer shows up. Hypervigilance, you know. What that can do is it can push people away, and then you need the police officer even more to protect yourself. Anyway.
You think you got this? Give it to me.
I will.
It touched me. It's something I'll remember to the day I die. Oh, he's my everything. And now I'm ready to marry this man tomorrow.
So this is really sweet. We're seeing a side of Lisa that we haven't seen before. I'm liking this side of her, this vulnerable, real side of her that doesn't have anything to do with being tough and demanding things.
There's some issues I've been experiencing with Usman.
This is not something to be brought up now. Well, Lisa wants us to discuss the problems we are having in front of Baruch and Mohammed. I'm offended. And if they get to know what is really going on, they may not support the marriage.
Okay, can you please furthermore explain to us what are the causes of those problems?
So he's been a little stubborn.
Since when Lisa come to this country, almost every day we must have problem.
Okay.
They're not starting this off in a helpful way. as maybe John Gottman would say. She's saying he can be stubborn. And then he's saying, every day there's a problem. So for those of you out there, when you get into a fight, there's a way of starting a conversation and a way of continuing a conversation that is very subtle in how you say something. And a lot of times people will say, like in my office, we'll be talking and I'll go, whoa, Lisa, can you say that a different way? And a lot of times people will say, but I'm telling you how I feel. Isn't therapy about telling you how I feel? I just told you how I feel. Aren't my feelings valid? And it's like, yes, your feelings are valid, but you didn't really express your feelings. What you said was an accusation. You basically called your fiancé a bad word, which is stubborn. You said, he's stubborn. That isn't really your feelings. So what are the feelings there? Well, what do you mean? So sometimes it takes a long time to get in touch with those feelings. But, so they're not starting off well, and they rarely start off well, which usually escalates. And now I'm worried that this is going to escalate. The two brothers are going to witness it, and they're going to call off the wedding.
I will not let anybody to tell me what to do or to tell me this or that. Controlling me, that's what I will not tolerate.
Okay, I got it. A husband does not give his wife all his time throughout. No. You should try and minimize how much time you needed from him. Please, you give him some chance.
I understand what you're saying, Farouk, but I did not...
I'm coming.
All right.
Let me land. You don't expect him to be with you from morning till night. No.
So this is not going to go well. Lisa has that strong policeman that is it's probably already just ready to go in this situation. She's not going to be like, you know what? You've made some good points here. Because they're not talking about what really is going on there, which are the emotional abandonment worries, rejection terror that she feels. She's being accused of being controlling, and the brother is saying, you can't do that to her. Okay, but why are people doing those things? That's always the thing. Why do people shoot themselves in the foot by being controlling, by being demanding? You got to get to those underlying reasons.
Let me tell you something that you don't know.
Sorry, before you continue, senior brother, do you have any contribution to this issue?
For our culture, wife used to follow the husband. He's the master of the house.
Since from the day she arrived, I've been with her. If it is in the room, I'm in the room with her. If it is outside, I am with her.
I've sat here for 21 days. I've given you more than you even realize.
It's okay, before you get to that.
No, it's done beyond this point. No, you're sitting here criticizing me. I'm not doing it.
So this is predicted. At some point, she's going to stand up and walk away, I'm guessing. Yeah, I'm not hearing anything that is, one, getting at the real issue here, because they never have. It's one thing to say, Lisa, you should probably tone it down. What they're saying is, look, you can't make demands. The man's going to come and go, and this is going to play right into her abandonment and relational traumas. She's going to come out swinging. She's going to start making some big aggressive gestures, and I'm guessing this is going to be a disaster like all the others.
I'm going to let you discuss this with your brothers. Excuse me, gentlemen.
Wait.
No, because I'm not sitting here any longer.
He raised some observations.
Farouk, wait.
And if we are living here while you're angry...
Traveled 7,000 miles to marry this man.
You try.
I tried, and I failed. So good night, gentlemen.
It's okay, come.
No,
come.
good night.
Lisa.
It's done.
Lisa.
I'm done.
So you see that aggression and you see that distress. I'm guessing if we could hook her up to some biological measurements that she would be off the charts in terms of her distress hormones and all of her heart rate and all those things. Because in that moment, they were taking away, one, she felt ganged up on, which I'm guessing she has traumas around as well. But also they're telling her that there's something wrong with her, which I'm guessing is triggering for her. And also that she shouldn't make demands, which is her primary way of gaining attachment, which has worked, unfortunately, really. with Usman and sort of rewarded her for that behavior. When she gets big and runs away like this, it actually gets her what she needs on the inside, which is closeness and attachment security.
This is never a way of Nigerian women to behave in front of any in-law. And now my brothers may end up saying that no, they don't want her to get married to me. At this point, I don't know if there will be a wedding tomorrow.
I got tired of Usman sitting there complaining about control, control, control. It has nothing to do with control. It is all about respect.
So that's an interesting statement. So multiple people are saying you're being controlling, and she's saying no, it has nothing to do with control. It has to do with respect. That's how she feels on the inside. That's the emotional side of it. To her, it feels disrespectful to be rejected and treated badly. And so she interprets it as disrespectful. And so when someone's disrespectful, then I have to tell them, you can't do that to me. But when you see the world through that lens, then it lends itself to a controlling behavior instead of looking at the world as, yeah, it's not a matter of control. It's not a matter of disrespect. What it is a matter of is I have a lot of traumas of abandonment. I have a lot of hurt that he's hurt my feelings, and I get really sad and I don't know what to do and I'm confused. That's another way of looking at the exact same situation. It's not a matter of disrespect. It's a matter of misunderstanding, or I'm hurt, or he's inconsiderate sometimes of my feelings, or something like that. So you can look at the same event, and the way that you see it will determine your reaction to it. If you see it as I'm hurt, then that lends itself to vulnerability. Usman, I'm hurt. If you see it as disrespect, then you will demand respect from other people.
Less than a day for the marriage and you are getting into this problem. It's not good like that.
I've been trying. Seriously, I've been trying, but this is not new to me. So let me just go and calm her down. Good night.
So we're seeing the identical pattern. She gets triggered. She sees it as a matter of disrespect. She wanders off. He chases her. He apologizes. She warms up. They are nice to each other. And then it's just, preparation time for the next blow up. This isn't a good sign. Now, I will say that if Usman and Lisa like this style of relationship, if we sit them down and say, look, this is how your relationship is going to look for the rest of your life because this is your pattern that you do. How do you feel about that? The two of them might be like, well, I'm fine with that. It could be worse. Then, hey, and that is totally fine. But it's not optimal, right? There's certainly another way to do it.
This is the most embarrassing thing that can ever happen to me in this relationship. The way you get anger quick, we don't do that. We don't do that.
I'm sorry. I just think we were super stressed out. It's been very hot.
Seriously, I don't like what is going on.
So this is another mode that she gets into. When she is apologizing, she'll say it's some other factor. She did this a number of episodes ago where she was like, I'm in a foreign country, I have jet lag, that's why I'm doing these things. So that's another pattern. I'm guessing that was modeled for her. Total speculation. When her parents did wrong to each other or to her or something, they wouldn't just sit with it and say, you know what, I made a mistake, I'm sorry. Instead, they said, yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm really stressed out right now, or it's because of work, or it's because of this. And when you get that modeled to you, then it becomes a habitual thing for yourself as well.
I know why I'm marrying you. It's not because you are a celebrity here in your country. I'm marrying you because I love you, Usman Umar.
So that's a good message to say. When you're in a fight, it's good to remind each other that you do love each other. It's a good start. I wish they would capitalize on it to actually try to solve the problems that they've been seeing.
I think what we have is worth working this out. So I will marry you tomorrow. Do you still want to marry me?
I cannot say no to you now. So, yes, I'll marry you, but please, I want to beg you now. believe me when I say something and trust me as a man that you're going to get married to. Because all this is a sign of distrust.
So we've been in this conversation before too, where Usman is saying, you have to trust me. Please don't do this again. And it just happens over and over and over again. Again, maybe they're okay with that, but there is another way. And if you're out there and you are in a relationship where you start to see these repetitive fights where they all just tend to look the same every single time, it's usually because you need to be in couples therapy, and two, there's some underlying feeling that isn't being acknowledged, and the person or both people are afraid to really express it and lay it out there for the other person to take care of, and instead engage in all these defenses to hide that feeling, but try to manage for that feeling. It's sort of like you haven't eaten anything in a month and you're starving, and you come across someone that has food on a cart, and you don't have any money, but you're just desperate. You're just like, could I just have a little apple, please? But instead of just going to the person and saying, I haven't eaten in a month and I am starving and I see an apple, could you give me an apple, please? Instead of saying that for fear of being rejected and being vulnerable and then having your hand slapped down, the person will say, you're pretty stingy with your apples, and how dare you come into this neighborhood with so much food and not share it with me? I mean, what kind of person are you? So that is a easier thing to exhibit. It's less vulnerable. And the hope is that by yelling at the person, they'll give me an apple. But of course, as the way I laid it out, the vendor is not as likely to give me an apple if I come at them aggressively. So my effort to protect myself from my vulnerability and from being rejected basically dictates that I'm never going to get the apple. So when Lisa is feeling worried that she's going to lose Usman, but she goes on the attack and makes demands, hoping that Usman will go, oh, okay, I hear you, that you are desperate for love and attention and you're really sad and scared right now, even though she's not saying that. That's the hope that the person has. And for you out there, when you do that kind of thing, think about it for a second. What's really going on for you down there? Why are you engaging in the aggression and the name calling and the resentment and the contempt and the defensiveness, the stonewalling, the criticism, the put downs, the escalation, the raising of the voice? What's going on there? What are you trying to protect? Are you just an innocent, starving person who wants an apple? Because you deserve to have that expressed, to say, I am sad, I'm lonely, and I was hurt by what you did earlier. And when you do that, then the vendor is like, oh, I'd be happy to give you an apple. It's a bit of a hardship to me because it's 50 cents, but man, does it feel good to give someone something that I have, I'm needed. This person, I'm going to make their day by giving them this tiny little token of love for this other human being. Sure, have an apple. I happily give up 50 cents to give another human being something that they need so badly and they asked so nicely.
It's just been very crazy down here for you and I for 3 weeks. Tomorrow opens a new chapter in our life, a new beginning as husband and wife. And I believe with all my heart, it's only going to grow bigger and better. I love you.
I love you too. I'm giving this relationship chance because I love Lisa.
Oh, God.
You're going to be husband and wife, so at least with time, I hope she's going to change.
She hasn't changed at all since you first met her, in my estimation. And the chances she's going to change, I don't think is very high, Usman. Unless maybe they go to the States and they hire a couples therapist. That'd be great.
Do take you
Usman Umar,
to be my lovely wedded husband.
to be my lovely wedded husband.
So help me God.
So help me God.
So I'm not entirely sure, but in all my journeys from watching this TV show, at your suggestion, by the way, I think this might be the first wedding that I've seen, and the whole show is based on people getting married, right? 90 Day Fiancé. So is this the first wedding that I've seen? I think it is.
I'm marrying my best friend today. My husband, my everything. Not to be able to physically hold him, have him next to me is going to be the hardest thing I have to do in my life. I don't know how I'm going to do this.
So there's that vulnerability. Maybe as she is married, she feels finally a little bit more safe to be vulnerable like this. I wish she could be vulnerable like this when she feels hurt by Usman, instead of getting that demanding side of her going. This part of her elicits so much compassion from me. When I see her like this, it breaks my heart. You just see her, just a ball of sadness, and you can just sense that she's trying to suppress it. You know, she doesn't want to let it out, and she deserves to let it out. She deserves to have someone take care of her.
God give us strength.
It's great. It's a wonderful moment. Just a beautiful, beautiful moment.
Oh my God, my heart hurts.
I'm going to miss everything about her.
All right. Well, that does it for another episode of Psychology in Seattle, in which I react to 90 Day Fiancé. Please subscribe below and become a patron on Patreon. And please take care of yourself, because you deserve it. You really, really do.